Or I don't know if there's any signal right now. Maybe there is. All right, this is your host, Joe Imbriano, the Fullerton Informer. And I'm coming to you live on Friday, September 5th, 2025. This is a Friday night issue, folks, and this is an important broadcast. I've been laying low for good reason, because there's a lot on some virus, and then they're going to come out with a vaccine. And, you know, we've seen this over and over again in terms of, you know, the virus made you sick, so you got to take these vaccines, whatever, okay? Well, there's an issue going on, again, in a school, and this one's in Ashland, I believe it's Ohio, and 1,000 students were evacuated from this middle school, high school, and upwards of 40 children were taken to the hospital. Okay? I'm going to put the phone down now because we're about to hit the road, okay? I'm going to shut the light off and we're going to talk. So I don't want you to disappear. I want you to listen to me, okay? I want you to listen to me, okay? I'm going to gear up for a nighttime drive here. I've taken quite a bit of time away from what's going on because it's time to let the dust settle and stay focused on what's important. All right. Can you see me? All right. Fullerton, California, 92834. On the web at thefullertoninformer.com, 5gdangers.com, wifi-dangers.com, vaxdangers.com, celltowerdangers.com. A lot of different websites, folks. All right. The reason I'm driving with these goggles is because people are driving around with LED projector beam headlights in back of me, in front of me, oncoming, sideways, and then the brake lights are LEDs. And so I'm just precious vision that has managed to last my entire life. I don't wear glasses or contacts. I have perfect vision. Praise the Lord. You got to protect your eyes, folks. So I believe what's going on at this school in Ohio is an electromagnetic operation, folks. We had a whole bunch of students, 1,000 students, evacuated from a high school combination, junior high school. And there's not a lot of coverage on this, okay? When you have upwards of 40 children taken to the hospital because they were nausea, dizziness, passing out, seizures, numbness, and tingling in their hands and feet, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, the authorities or the public health officials or whatever you want to call these people, the fire department, I think the sheriff's in charge of this thing, a guy named Schneider. They found nothing. No carbon monoxide, no issues with the natural gas leak, no contamination, and no details are being released about what happened over there other than the school has been reopened. Many years back, there was an event at Nichols Junior High School in Arlington, Texas, where but in this situation, in the Ohio school, the sheriff's running the show, right? So, you know, is the sheriff's department there just trying to control the narrative and to gather facts and to keep a lid on this, to make sure that they have the name and number of all the troublemakers? I'm going to tell you something right now, folks. These Wi-Fi systems have the capability to induce neurological and physiological symptoms. Many years ago, the U.S. military was screwing around with something called Project Bazaar, and that's on my website. You know, Google Project Bazaar, the Fullerton Informer. They were running microwave tests on the central nervous system of monkeys, okay? So they can make you collapse, they can stop your heart, and with 60 gigahertz millimeter wave weaponry that's in these new Wi-Fi systems, they can take your breath away. Because 60 gigahertz happens to be the transition band of the oxygen electrons, okay? And I will tell you that no matter how much research or studying you do, you're going to get artificial intelligence telling you that 60 gigahertz millimeter wave energy coming from Wi-Fi or communication systems has no effect on oxygen molecules. When in fact, 60 gigahertz is the exact frequency at which oxygen molecules absorb the energy of the millimeter waves. It's the frequency, it's the resonance frequency of oxygen, folks. They have designed a perfect weapons system that is silent and secret, and no one's talking about this. I believe that they can run different frequencies and induce different symptoms. Once again, this school in Ohio had children go, there were 40 children that were taken to 7 area hospitals. Now, I don't know if they were hospitalized or they were taken and released. They're not releasing a lot of information about what happened other than the eyewitness accounts of what happened in that school. Are a bunch of students started freaking out because a bunch of students started getting sick, having seizures, passing out, feeling tingling in their hands and feet. All these symptoms, okay, that's not fentanyl, that's not dirty sock, that's not mold, that's not carbon monoxide, folks. That's electromagnetic, okay, EMF. They've put all kinds of wireless systems, when in fact, they have specifically chosen certain frequency to broadcast the signal to these wireless devices in the classrooms. They've chosen certain frequencies instead of Ethernet cables. Yeah, okay, let's talk about these. Let's talk about these frequencies, folks. Well, I mean, it's, you know, these routers, they're, first of all, they can be remote controlled. The frequency bands can be changed remotely. The power levels can, well, they're beamforming, folks. They lock onto you, okay? They lock onto you with your wearables, okay? That's called a P-cell, all right? This has been around for a long time. On WiFiDangers.com, you can look at, I believe, the front page article on WiFiDangers.com. If it doesn't go into the detail, it's on the FullertonInformer.com. But the article that I've left on the front page of the Fullerton Informer is a link to what happened in that school in Arlington, Texas, back in 2016, where they were knocking it. The students, the staff were passing out. Okay? You know, this I can't breathe stuff. Folks, they are using frequencies to run Wi-Fi, to run video gaming headsets and VR headsets and all kinds of, all right? So, you know, they've got this stuff in the new Wi-Fi that uses the oxygen molecule frequency to broadcast on. Is that a good idea? Chemistry, and I have a bachelor's degree in biological science, okay? I know enough to see what their information that is really available and discern what is not being looked at. It stares me in the face when I look at something, how they purposely don't study this, that, or the other, or look at this, that, or the other, and yet, it's like in medicine, right? You know, they're always looking for the culprit, and they act like they're trying to save the day, save the world with all this research. Like, for example, with, you know, cardiovascular disease, hardening of the arteries. Oh, it's always some new thing. Oh, it's in the gut. Oh, it's some bacteria. Oh, it's the cholesterol. Oh, it's the eggs. Oh, it's the meat. Oh, it's the saturated fat. Oh, it's the trans fats. And our solution is statins, right? The #1 most prescribed drug in the world. But the reason that you're getting these arterial plaque formations is because of fluoride, right? And we're studying that, but yet there's all these studies that you can look at on the introduction of water fluoridation in these developed countries, and then you won't find a study on the increase of heart disease that coincides with the prevalence of water fluoridation. But yeah, you can study alongside each other different that analyze the water fluoridation as it was rolled out in what countries. It'll give you the dates and the parts per million and the water supplies. And then you can look at the onset of cardiovascular disease in these countries. But they don't interweave the studies because they're designed not to. They run them separate on purpose so you don't figure out what they're doing. Well, the same thing with these Wi-Fi systems, folks. They're running these systems. 60 gigahertz is one of the frequency bands in the new Wi-Fi. That is the absorption spectrum of oxygen molecules. 60 gigahertz is the frequency band, okay? And I had plenty of time at the university understanding, atmospheric chemistry and ozone and reactive oxygen species and free radicals. And to understand that they've also organized the air conditioning systems in these buildings to where, they've got needlepoint ionization, bipolar ionization, cold plasma, reactive oxygen species generating systems. All these things are allegedly designed to ostensibly purify the indoor air, which actually are harmful to you if they are used in a manner that can be initiated to induce harm. Because all of these things are designed to kill things like bacteria and so-called viruses, and break down volatile organic compounds and particulate matter and ionize them. Well, what do you think that does to your tissue and your lungs and your respiratory tract and your eyes? Well, and why are they using the water molecule dielectric loss frequency for the carrier wave for the 2.4 gigahertz for your drink of water right now? I'm going to put this down. You see, folks, I haven't done a stream for a while because I pretty much had enough of all this, this Trump and MAGA and all this garbage and all this political crap with all these fake truthers out there not talking about how they're going to start doing stuff to us that no one's going to understand, and it's going to freak people out, and they're going to line up for their antidote to this disease that they're going to create. And it ain't going to be caused by what they're telling you. It's going to be caused by what I've been talking about for over a decade. I was standing out in front of schools with 8-foot by 5-foot, 6-foot banners, holding up 15-foot poles with a whole bunch of placards with warnings about what they're going to do with this technology. And people thought I was crazy. And now we've got this technology everywhere in the classrooms. It's been upgraded multiple times from here to Kingdom Come with all kinds of remote access on it. And now we've got these mystery illnesses. And by the way, this one in the Ashland schools in Ohio, this is not an isolated event. I mean, these things happen from here to there to Tippity Square. Nobody's talking about them because they do it here, they do it there. They just tweak on these things. They run them, and they run interference, and they're just testing the equipment, folks. Right before this COVID thing went full bore, I was talking about this, and I even said that during the lockdowns they were getting the schools ready, because I thought they were going to go live back then with the full-blown operation. And maybe because I put the word out and set the internet on fire about the white vans going into all the schools during the initial lockdown for that supposed 2-week period where they were going bonkers, retrofitting the air conditioning systems and the Wi-Fi systems in the schools. And it was my sincerely held belief at the time that they were going to turn that stuff on and create some real casualties with it. Folks, they can hurt you with frequencies, all right? The directed energy weapons where they can literally blow an airplane out of the sky with a 60 gigahertz weapon, okay? There's all kinds of stuff they can do with frequencies. I'm telling you, as I've told you, that they're going to do stuff in these schools, folks. That's why they fenced them in like prisons, and they've put these wireless systems in there. And everybody with the bullseye on them with their AirPods that they're triangulating right over their nose and mouth. I mean, look at somebody with two AirPods on, and they literally are forming a triangulation for convergence right over the nose and the mouth, and the thyroid too, by the way. And by the way, a lot of your iodine is absorbed through the atmosphere. And because 6 gigahertz is the absorption spectrum of iodine molecules. And why are they using the oxygen molecule frequency in the Wi-Fi when 60 gigahertz is the absorption spectrum of oxygen molecules? Why are they going after the oxygen and the iodine? Well, I don't know, folks. Think about it. Like my good friend Puff used to say, think about it. Think about it for just a minute, folks. Because it's a weapon. There's three kinds of people in this world. There are those that are fully evil because they are of their father, the devil. There are those, leaving the fourth category aside, which is people like you and I, the people that do know and that are trying to help. It's these three categories of people that we need to focus on. We need to focus on exposing who the evil people are and the evil people that are behind this and that are doing this to us. And it's not hard to figure out who they are. Just look at who's responsible for all these technology companies, who's locked in like in a prison and being susceptible to these things. And then you've got the cowards. You got to work on the cowards, folks, because you got to call them out too. And then finally, we got the people that don't know. You got to warn them and you got to wake them up to this. Can you imagine if they were going to, in one fell swoop, flip a switch and hit a whole bunch of schools at once? Do you know they can make you hemorrhage with a microwave weapon? Did you know that microwaves affect your blood chemistry, blood viscosity, your clotting, your body's ability to coagulate the blood? Did you know that they can make you bleed? They can make you bleed out your ears. They can burn your skin. They can give you skin lesions. They can take your breath away. They can give you seizures. They can stop your heart. They can do all kinds of things with frequencies, folks. That's right. That's why Joe Imbriano, the Fullerton Informer, has dedicated a large part of the last 15 years of his life researching, studying, and exposing these weapons and trying to stop the proliferation and installation into the school. And I went hard and heavy for a long time in my community. It was carried in a lot of other places, okay? A lot of people picked up steam because they saw what I was involved in, and they got wise to what was going on, and a lot of people pulled their children out of school because of it. I'm here to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that they have not forgotten about how to use these weapons, all right? Can you folks hear me okay? Do we still have a signal here? All right. We still going? Folks, I'm going to repeat this. If you have children in school, you've got to tell them to get the heck out of the schoolroom, the classroom. If they have a hard time breathing, they need to run. And they also got to get those AirPods out of their ears that is locking onto them. You target, ladies and gentlemen, and that's the problem, is these things give them a target. These wearables, they give the devices a target to lock the beamforming array onto you. Millimeter waves are beamforming technologies. They lock on. They're directional. However, they're easily disrupted in terms of the signal because they don't penetrate. So, you know, a compact disc or a Blu-ray disc or one of these big laser discs like the one I keep in my car. Have you seen these? You see this right here? This big thing? See it? I carry one of these around just in case they try to get me. I'm not kidding. That's a dielectric surface, folks. That'll scatter the beamforming weapon if they're coming after you. So if you have children in schools, I don't recommend that they're in school, but if they have to be, God help us, because you know what? They literally are at the mercy of these monsters, okay? It's really sad. These people that run these schools, they're oblivious to a lot of this stuff. It's in buildings too, by the way. It's in workplaces. It's in I wouldn't be surprised if this stuff, well, I'm sure it's in the new cars. I'm sure it's in public places. They've had plenty of time to upgrade all this technology. You always hear about all these technology upgrades, right? Well, you know, there's a lot of illness that can be induced by technology. That's all I could say. So, you know, without any further ado, I think, you know, everybody listening to the sound of my voice needs to revisit this agenda, the wireless agenda, and how it is not just so you can watch porno in the bathroom, okay? It is about getting an agenda through where nobody will suspect the cause of the illness, so they can blame a pathogen and propose a solution that will involve vaccinations, okay? That's always been the plan. And the weaponry that is going to be used is not some fake virus out of some fake biolab, out of some fake narrative from this fake Wuhan spike protein nonsense, okay? The weaponry is all around us. And the symptoms can be induced at will by remote controlling the transmitters. And they're on the towers. They're in the Wi-Fi systems. They're in the repeaters. They're in a lot of different places, folks. They've got millimeter wave flat panel antennas in televisions and in wallpaper, okay? All I'm telling you is if you are feeling like you can't breathe, get out of the building. Chances are it could very well be a millimeter wave attack. If you're feeling neurologically impaired or faint, get out of there, because those are symptoms that can be associated with an electromagnetic attack on you through microwaves and millimeter waves that can be carried and transmitted through a variety of arrays that are all around us, in the cities, in the homes. Recommend having any type of wireless stuff in your house, folks. Ethernet cables and gigabit switches and Ethernet cables and USB-C, USB adapters to your phones and everything else. Use it sparingly, only if necessary. Like right now, I'm streaming because it hits me. I got to tell it like it is, when I got the time, when I've got the emotion and the strength to put this information out. All of you need to Google the most important video in the world by Joe Imbriano, where I exposed this agenda and what happened in these schools a couple years ago, well, about 10 years ago now, and revisit the potential for this to become a more widely seen phenomenon, because these people have planned. They've been planning this for a long time, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm going to tell you right now. You need to focus on those three kinds of people that I just told you about, because if you're one of us and you're trying to tell the truth to everybody, I guess I can take this off now. Can you folks see me okay? You see, I know it's dark outside, and I know it's late, but I'm okay. All right. I want to thank you all for tuning in. And I want to thank you all for your prayers because I need them, folks. This is a really tough time. It's just there's a lot of bad stuff going on. You know, the whole government's now being run by criminals. Everything's out in the open now. I mean, there's so much bad stuff going on. And now, you know, my life has always been devoted to, you know, helping others and warning others, especially children. And I have a feeling that this is coming sooner than later. So I really want you to get out and warn people about the dangers of these technologies and the ability for people to use these technologies as weapons, okay? So WiFiDangers.com, CellTowerDangers.com, 5GDangers.com. Look up the video, Joe Imbriano, the most important video in the world, the attack on children in the schools, the coming attack on children in the schools. Go to the FullertonInformer.com, look at the website, look at that article, look at the video, watch that video, and warn others. Folks, this is not a joke, okay? This is very serious, and, you know, we can't ignore this. We have a lot of issues to deal with here, folks, and, you know, this problem is not going to solve itself, okay? We have to let people know what to watch out for. And, you know, homeschool your children. That's probably the best thing you can do right now, folks. Get them out of those schools because they're not learning anything in there that's true. It's all lies. And you could teach your children so much more at home in an hour a day than they're going to learn in a government school in 10 hours a day. Okay? In Jesus' name, we're going to fight and win, folks. All right? The truth comes to those who have eyes to hear. I want to thank you for tuning in. I'm going to get off this broadcast now, folks, okay? I want you all to take care. And I'm back. I never went anywhere, folks. I've just been laying low, all right? But this, and Janetta, by the way, thank you for sending me that email, for making me aware of this. I was not aware of this, okay? Thank you so much, folks. God bless, and you all take care.